What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Emanuel Navarrete versus Robson Conceicao, and this was a 12-rounder for the WBO Super Featherweight World Championship. And this fight was it was Thursday, November 16th, from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this fight was broadcasted on ESPN along with ESPN Plus. And in this fight, Robson Conceicao and Emanuel Navarrete fought to a majority draw. So I am not mad at this decision. I had this fight a draw as well. I had it 113 to 113. But honestly, I definitely could see it being 114, 112 for Navarrete. And even though this fight was really, really tight, I kind of can't say that I think that Conceicao could have won it, I'm going to be honest. Obviously, it's only a round difference. But the rounds that Navarrete won were sort of clear, or more clear than the rounds that overall Conceicao had. Despite, I think, Conceicao won more rounds, he did get dropped twice and dropped some of those later rounds, which really led to this fight being a draw. If he didn't get dropped, he really could have won this fight. But yeah, I had a 113-113. And just to list the judges' scorecards, they had a 114-112 Navarrete, which I could definitely see. And then also the other two had a 113-113 even. So just to break down my scorecard, the first 3 rounds I gave easily in favor of Robson Conceicao. He outboxed Navarrete, was catching him at the end of punches. Navarrete would be swinging, and whilst he would miss, he'd get caught with a 1-2 or a combination. And Conceicao just did really, really well in those first 3 rounds. Then in the fourth, though, this is where Navarrete started to heat up. He landed a very good short uppercut that stunned Conceicao and threw a follow-up combination that sent him down to the canvas on his knees. Then in the 5th round, it was a solid comeback round for Conceicao. Boxed pretty well, had a 19-7 connect advantage over Navarrete. Then in round number 6, it was a very fun round, actually. Both fighters had some good work, but Conceicao overall just had more solid counters. But then in the 7th round, this was another round that Navarrete scored big. He got another 10-8 round in the 7th. When Navarrete was walking Conceicao down, he landed a massive right hand to the body or to the flank of Conceicao, putting him down to the canvas. The sheer power of the shot. It really didn't look like it kind of hurt him. I mean, it probably did hurt, obviously, but it was just a sheer powerful shot that put him down to the canvas. And then in round number 8, I also gave it to Conceicao, with just boxing and countering well. But then rounds 9, 10, and 11, I gave them all to Navarrete. And this is where the fight really, really got tight. Even with those 2 knockdowns, Conceicao, I still had him up by a little bit. But then 9, 10, and 11, Navarrete, it seemed like his shots had much, much more muster on him, or much, much more powerful than Conceicao's shots, and it looked like Conceicao was starting to break down a bit. But the problem with the commentary team was that they were giving Conceicao all his props early, and then when he started to sort of break down as the fight went on, in those later rounds that Navarrete won, I was just saying, they were really talking about it like Navarrete was dominating the fight, even though they were well aware that this fight was extremely close in the scorecards. But yeah, in those rounds, Navarrete just had much, much more power on his shots. But then in the 12th and final round, Conceicao gave everything he had, and both of them were swinging. But I thought Conceicao had the better work, so I had it 113-113. But this goes into question, what is next? First, for both fighters, it obviously could be a rematch. We could see a rematch between these two, considering they had a draw. But if that does not come to fruition, we could possibly see Emanuel Navarrete, who is the WBO champion, possibly taking on someone who's highly ranked by the WBO if he's not going to unify with any of the other champs at 130, which are O'Shaquie Foster, Hector Garcia, who has a fight coming up, and then Joe Cordina, who just eked out a decision over Vasquez. But for Navarrete, we could possibly see him take on maybe someone like a Charlie Suarez, who just fought on top rank in his last fight, or Henry Lebron, who just got a solid victory. We could possibly see Navarrete take on Abraham Nova, who's making his comeback, maybe Brian Chevalier, or Albert Bell, who's currently ranked number 1 by the WBO. We could really see him take on any of those highly rated WBO contenders. if he does not rematch Conceicao. And since Navarrete is pretty active, we could possibly see any of those fights within the next few months. But as for Robson Conceicao, considering he did lose here, or excuse me, he got a draw here, I should say. Obviously, we could see a rematch, like I said. But if he doesn't rematch Navarrete, I wouldn't mind seeing him against someone who's pretty highly ranked at 130. I wouldn't mind seeing him face someone who's top 10, top 15 ranked, because Conceicao has shown that he could fight at that level. Although he lost to Shakur Stevenson, he didn't put up that bad of a performance, even though he lost pretty clearly, like 10-2, 11-1. But against Oscar Valdez, many people, myself included, thought he should have got a clear victory there. And then in this fight, he put up a very solid performance against Navarrete, who was coming off of an excellent win over Valdez. So for Conceicao, if he doesn't get a rematch, I wouldn't mind seeing him possibly fighting in like a world title eliminator to get another shot at the world title. So overall, Emanuel Navarrete drops Robson Conceicao twice, but is not able to capitalize as he and Conceicao fight to a majority draw, with Navarrete keeping his title. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.